Adams. This is when spirituality and the game combines. You have the thinking class. Join us today as we have an open discussion. The open mic is open. You can come up and share. What do you think about this whole slap thing with Jada, with Will, with Chris, all these situations? What do you think? We want to hear from you today because this is when spirituality and the game combines. You have the thinking class. We want to hear from you. Let's join us today as we go live. Let's go. 1, 2, go. So shout out to everyone. If you don't know what today is April the 1st. And if you're on Facebook and Instagram, I got you. Got you. So you want to come up, there's your opportunity to come up. I got to make sure that my phone is connected. You can call through Facebook or Instagram, but I'm going to put the link in sort of early. You can come in, you can pop up, say what you need to say. Don't come over talking crazy because I have the very, very good power to do that, but to pull you at any time. But you can come up and say your piece about what's going on. And let me make sure this is connected before we even start. But today we want to talk about the Will, Jada, and Chris Rock. Where do we go from here? Where do we go from here? What's the next take from this? What is the next take on this right here? What is the next take on this? What is the next take on this? Where do we go from here? I gotta turn this phone off. Thought I did. What is the next take on this? Thank you so much for that super chat. Brothers, I appreciate that. Let me make sure this is connected so we can definitely get the Wi-Fi. Make sure it's connected to everybody. Oh, that's not the Wi-Fi. We want to make sure the Bluetooth is on to get it connected. But yeah, man, greetings. What's going on, Rain and Womb? What's going on? Thank you so much, John the W, for the support and the message. I appreciate for support. Thank you so much. Thank you for everybody's watching. We had 2K watching on the first one, and I think we got 2K on the second video of this Will and Jada and all these kind of things that are going on. I think we're definitely making strides with here. So definitely, everybody, if you want to come up, I'm going to put the link in the chat room. I think I put it in there already. If you want to come up, if you're on Facebook or you're on Instagram, you can come up, leave a comment. What is your take on it? Do you think Will was right? Do you agree with Jada? Do you think Jada, she's completely right? We need to get it more. We need to set up red tables in every major city and have everybody talk about everything. Do you think we need to do that? What is your opinion on this? We want to hear from you today. So I'm going to put the link up there. Please, when you come up, make sure you keep it to precisely under 2 minutes because I magically somehow, the way this system is set up, it just automatically has a timer on it and it pulls you. So make sure you keep it in there. You make your point and you get down. So definitely, definitely, definitely. What do you think about this Will and Jada whole situation? What do you think about it? What do you think about it? What is your outlook? We talked about it, a lot of variables, especially yesterday, about the whole maybe hypothetically um Will's archetype of a woman that he likes, but the ones that he settles for. And we talked about that yesterday. We talked about a whole bunch of nuances that play into this with Tretch, and then with Tupac, and how Will liked Pepper from Salt and Pepper, the rap group. Didn't get her, but she ended up going with Tretch, and then Tretch was end up as good friends with Tupac, but Tupac and Jada were good friends. So many variables, but we only speculating from the outside. So we want to hear from you today. We want to hear from you today. What do you think? Hold on, I'm trying to get this together right quick. So you said I think Jada needs to fold her red table and go fix the broken tape in her household. Wow, that's good right there. Will Smith was wrong regardless and should face harsh consequences. Excellent. Okay. So yeah, see, people have an opinion about this. And I think what happens is because we've seen it in public and everyone witnessed it, guess what's that happen? We got to deal with it in our own way, in our own perception. We have to deal with it. We have to deal with it. Now we got to process it. Some of us just don't care. Actually, in some levels, I really don't care. You know why? Because that's what they did, and they shouldn't have did it. He shouldn't have slapped them. Because at the end of the day, I have to be responsible for my image, and then I got to make sure the image of everyone around me reflects that. And then I can say this is not how we collectively move, say as Black men, but as men in general. So it has to be defined that way. So, but yeah, this whole Will and Jada thing. I mean, I just seen something recently where in the last two, but within an hour, not an hour or so, yesterday, you seen another shot and it shows Jada actually laughing at the joke. But the way they cut it, it made it look like she was disgusted by the joke. So it's like, who's are we being pranked on a higher level, on a big level, or what? I think we might be being pranked. You said I care because of the message that it sends out. Okay, I'm here. Okay, good to see you here. So are we being pranked, or is this a real deal? What can we really take away from this? Because I really want to end this conversation. I enjoy talking about it, but I also want to get the lessons that are in there. So one of the things that's so important in this is Chris Rock did his first stand-up concert in Boston yesterday. Sold out, of course, sold out. Tickets were going astronomically high. But he only took a couple seconds to really talk about it. He said, you know what? I know you want to hear about the situation. Right about now. Good. There we go. Should be able to hear me now. I don't know why that happened. But you should be able to. Okay, let me explain it again. With Chris, so with Chris Rock, you got to think he's been being a comedian for several years. He had his own television show. He's been in several movies. He's worked on his craft. He studied the top people, which is Red Fox, Eddie Murphy. Eddie Murphy actually the one who gave him a break. Eddie Murphy actually gave him a break. So we talk about that. He's worked on his craft. He's honed it in. He became he's worked on his craft. He's made himself better. He's been in movies. He had his ups and downs. He was married. Now he's divorced, got kids. He's older now, so he has a greater season when it comes to his craft, as with being a comedian. And in the midst of this, he was even ridiculed for even last time for speaking at the Oscars, and because you don't get paid, but think about it, you get the notoriety and you get the exposure. And now this time in 2022, Chris Rock is now up there and he says a joke and it turns into a slap. Now he has to go back into a venue and everyone wants to hear about what took place while he has all these tons of material. He still has to process what took place. So we never think about, that's what I want to make sure we emphasize. We got to think about, what does Chris Rock, what is he going through his mind? His family, some family members say, let Chris handle it. Or some people say, no, we'll handle it. Other comedians are standing with Chris. But at the end of the day, it takes a lot. I don't care what nobody say, for another man to smack you and your hand almost flinch, but you don't do it because you don't want to turn it into a scene. It takes a lot of self-discipline. It takes a lot of control. It takes a lot. I don't care what nobody says. It takes a lot. I don't care what nobody says. It takes a lot. What's going on? They're both great guys, yeah. But it takes a lot for a man to be that disciplined to do that. Because our instincts is to automatically to retaliate. Because you came into my space. You didn't just, so he leaned in and said, what you about to say? I think that was the lean in, and we seen to sort of look like he was looking for the smack. No, I think that was like, okay, what are you about to say? So it wouldn't be on the mic. Let me say that again. So he leaned in so it wouldn't be on the mic, so it wouldn't pick up on the mic. But it takes a lot for a man to be smacked and not retaliate. Two things that I remember my other uncle told me. He said the worst thing you can do to a man is spit on him. And this second thing is what? To smack him. To not retaliate takes a lot of patience, and try to recover even more impressive. Yes, it takes a lot for him. Think about it. I don't care who you are. You come into my perimeter, my space, and I lean in to open my space up to you, and you smack me. Then you walk off with a smirk on your face, sit back down, and I said it was just a joke. And from the angle we seen that it looked like Jada was sort of disgusted by the joke, and you get up and say, keep my wife's name out your mouth. Dude, that's a lot. That's a lot. We never talk about the fact what we understand the whole thing where everybody hate Chris, but we never talk the fact about what is processing through Chris. We got a call. Let's see if we can get it through. Can you hear? Are you there, caller? Let me see. Are you there? Let me see. Can you hear? Go ahead. Uh-oh.
LDA, can you hear me?
Loud and clear. Let's go. Let's go.
My brother, you got me laughing over here. The way you breaking it down. You so right. Because anybody knows, and everybody knows, if you go and hit a man or you spit on a man, you kind of asking for a death wish. Mm-hmm. And the man, the way that he hit him, you could tell it was pent up frustration based off maybe he carried over something from 2016 from the prior award show when he said something about Jada. You know, every man has their breaking point. Every man. You know, I think we more so, and I'm gonna keep it under 2 minutes. I know you there's a time constraint. With Will, I think more so we all seen Fresh Prince coming up. We all follow his career from time, in the 90s, early 2000s. iRobot, Independence Day, movie after movie after movie, I Am Legend. We all love Will Smith. So I think it affects us because we all looked at him as the golden child of Hollywood, and the man had a esteemed track record for about 30 plus years, never got in trouble. And for this to happen to him, a lot of people are coming down on him.
Mhm.
Yeah, it wasn't a good look. It wasn't. But I think we got to look at some positive in this. And most of us are. It's a lot of gems in this that happens. But I don't like how we're all turning on Will Smith,
Okay.
within a week after
Okay.
a 30-year stretch.
Okay.
I don't like how we're bashing him at this point. But there's lessons to learn because what he did was not conducive to being a man. He didn't do it for him. He did it for his wife, but he laughed at the joke. So what are you doing, dude? You should apologize to that man. Have your lawyers pay that man. Hello, you there, Elliot? Hello?
I'm here. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I would have him already get his lawyers together. Pay Chris Rock whatever you want to pay, even though Chris, didn't press charges on him. I still think it's a good thing to, in a good gesture. Okay, I was out of line. My bad. We know he's dealing with pressure within his own family, but to go out and take it out on a comedian. Think about how many other comedians feel some type of way about this right now. And I was in a household with a comedian. His biggest fear was going to a show, and LDL, you know New Jersey, certain parts of New Jersey,
Yeah.
East Orange, Irvington.
Oh yeah.
These guys are coming to these clubs, and they're drunk. There's open bar, so they tell you don't sit in the front row.
Right.
You're going to get roasted, and a lot of people do that and get sensitive about it. And for Will Smith to have so much of a comedic background, I mean, he had so many cameos with great comedians in the past, even Jim Carrey. But for Jim Carrey to say what he said about him, then we're at a point now where it's definitely serious.
Yeah.
But I just hope these two brothers, we know Chris is getting money off of it now, through the promotion. But how's his mental health as far as his personal life? Because I hear he's walking out with the hoodie on, and he's kind of embarrassed.
Yeah.
So that's something he's going to have to live with for the rest of his life.
What's interesting is most people don't think about this. This is a reoccurrence from Chris's childhood. This is a reoccurrence from his childhood because he was actually bullied until high school and didn't graduate.
Yes, he was.
So imagine now this man comes up at the height of your career and smacks you, whether it was a pimp smack or was a featherweight smack or was a whatever smack it is. You got to think the trauma that Chris has gone through for this. He's like, I just can't get away from people wanting to beat me up.
Right. And everybody went to console Will Smith. They probably consoled him in the back scenes in the background. But you've seen guys like Denzel, Tyler Perry, a couple other guys that approached Will from a side angle. I don't know if you've seen that video. They did like a side angle when they went on break, and all the guys from a high view. You can see a lot of celebrities going up to Will Smith, approaching him. But LDA, like I know, those guys are his seniors, so they're not coming at him like, "Oh, what's going on with your household?" No, they're more like, "Bro, what are you doing? We're here at the biggest stage, and you just set us back 50 years."
Right.
I know that walk and that touch on the shoulder, and you can read body language from afar. And that was one of them talks. Like, dude, we here, and there's only about a handful of us,
right.
And you just going to do that? Now you gave them something to really talk about. Now they're going to probably boycott you. They're probably going to take your award. They're going to be very frightened, or you kind of messed up your future, your money in the long run. Because whoever thought about working with you may not want to work with you now.
Right.
It might be on the back scene now. And that's a cause of a man not being in control of his emotions.
Whoa. Stay right there. That is the pivotal lesson here. Is when one man lost his emotions while the other man what?
He maintained.
Thank you.
He don't get no credit. Oh yeah, why are we giving this man, Chris? I gotta say this too. You may not believe me, but Chris Brown, I may be a little biased. I say Chris Brown. Chris Rock is my grandma's first cousin's son.
Wow.
So we're related. I knew this since we were kids. Like I've met him a couple of times, through some family events. But I don't have that Chris Rock money, so I don't put it out there like that. But I am a little biased because I do see his pictures up in family houses and stuff like that, and I believe he's going to be all right. But you can't look past. There's a lot of Chris Rock in all of us. We all had a point where we probably got picked on, and then throughout all that rage, we turned it into something and transferred that energy, whether physically on somebody or we damaged ourselves with substance. That rage energy is, I had a guy tell me a long time ago, the worst thing to do is to fight somebody that has rage. So with Chris Rock going through all the stuff to try to, you have to understand this too, LD, and you know this. Comedy sometimes is used as a stress reliever. So when people do like a laugh, sometimes they have to laugh from not turning psycho.
Correct.
It's kind of like a ha ha ha, but I really want to strangle your neck, but I'm gonna laugh this off. And you got to look at the IQ, look at the intellect. When he got smacked, a lot of people ain't see how his head had balled up.
Yeah.
And the man is so fast. Like comedians are so intelligent. The man was ready to strike with he was ready to go in on him with comedy. He was like, I can say, I'm gonna hold. I don't know if you heard him say that.
Yeah.
And then he caught himself. He's like, I'm going, because that's how comedians are. He was ready to go at him right there. But he stopped. And then he caught himself. I believe he was flustered because he got smacked.
Right.
But the fact that he saved himself, he saved future other actors and actresses, because we're still on the scene. We're still under a microscope. If he would have struck back with a right punch, how bad that would have looked for the future.
Right.
So he actually saved Will in a way. It could have been worse, but we don't give that credit to somebody who knows how to show restraint in the battle of a heated argument, or when somebody gets physically attacked. He showed restraint, which I think is more strength. A man can attest to that type of strength. That's incredible. Because
right.
a lot of guys are like, oh, I would have fought back, or I would have hit him. Why? You can't do that outside. There's situations outside of the bigger scope. So I think people can't always react in those situations. You have to really gather yourself. And, we know there's hit squads and people who will get you back later. But in every situation, you can't go at somebody right then and there.
Right.
I'm not saying he right or wrong, but you just can't react when there's a bigger scope on you.
Right. So, yeah, with that being said, I completely agree with you. I think it was completely, shout out to you, Bernie L. I think it was definitely, it was a wrong act, but you hit it on the head when saying one man was driven by his emotions and the other one restrained his emotion, his natural ability to what? Respond back to him. So, but yeah, I appreciate you, bro. Let me get to
Shout out to you, LDS.
Get the next people up here.
You know it.
All right, peace.
All right, brother.
So yeah, definitely good job. Good to see Fierce Soul coming there and drop some gems on there. But yeah, definitely, I want people to really realize that you're looking at Chris, you're dealing with his trauma that he's dealing with since a child. And we don't talk about that. You think, oh, so what? He can do whatever we do. Well, that's so what happened to him, whatever the case may be. No, and I understand Chris he's going to benefit from this. He's going to make money from this. But the thing of it is, it was very classless. It was something that shouldn't have even happened. Joke or no joke. I'm not talking about Chris's joke. I'm talking about if it was a joke on Will and Jada's part, there's a level of when it take it too far. There is a level. And so I'm really over it. I'm tired of it already. But I want to make sure people understand that we need to look in I want to call him Chris Tucker so bad, Chris Rock shoes, and say, hey, brother, I see where you're coming from. This is a reoccurrence in your life. This is a reoccurrence in your life. And so we need to get past this, and we need to look at it, because every person in this situation, we said it a couple of days ago, but I'm saying it again, we can identify with, or we can identify that character in our life. Like one of my coworkers said all the time, you meet all these people in other body forms somewhere else. You're going to meet them again. How you deal with them is up to you. You're going to meet Chris Rock. You're going to meet Will. You're going to meet Jada. You're going to meet the cameraman. You're going to meet Denzel. You're going to meet these characters somewhere in your life. But as we said before, is how you deal with it as an individual is going to determine whether you win or whether you get the bag. But I'm going to make sure we understand that. Even in that, if you want to come up, you got something to share about this, I put the link in the bio. Please keep it under 2 minutes. Keep it light and fluffy. Keep it to the point. Don't get the long-winded. Keep right to the point. Make sure if I know you are, you can come up, climb up. But make sure you are talking about what we're talking about. One of the things also we need to look at is when you sign an agreement, all parties at that place signed an agreement. They sign an agreement. And what happens is, because of this situation, it became a breach of that agreement. And there are consequences for when you breach an agreement, that a legal binding agreement that you sign. So whether we want to whether we feel pity or not feel pity for Will Smith and Jada and Chris, there was an agreement signed. When you go there, you have to certain code of conducts are in place. So we need to think about that. We talked about this last year about different stratospheres, and there are different stratospheres of social gatherings demand different code of conducts. Let me say that again. Different stratospheres of social gathering call for different codes of conduct. What you do, say, on the west side of Philly is not what you're going to do in Hollywood and high society. And what happens is you got to know the rules of engagement. You got to know the rules of engagement. And I think here, this is a prime example where you need to know what you can do and what you cannot do. And for Will Smith, he did something that violated the contract that he signed with the Oscars Corporation, Society, the Actors Guild, and all. He violated all that. And there's consequences for it, whether we like it or not. Whether you agree with him or not, whether you agree with Chris or not, agree with Jada, whatever the case may be, there's always consequences for your action. There's always consequences for your action. And I think what happens right here, what we need to look at is this. How would this affect Will and Jada coming in the near future? Can they rebound from this? Because this is going to be at least 6 months, maybe a year, and it's going to forever be it's going to forever be on their track record. Can you rebound from such a mistake as this? This is the lesson that we're going to watch in real time, and it's not going to be reality TV. It's going to be what they're doing to rebound from this. Because if he does not rebound from this, he's going to always be bound to that situation that took place last Sunday. He's going to always be bound to that situation that took place last Sunday. How is he going to rebound? If you want to come up, we'll put that respect back in his name. We'll put that respect back in his name. Okay. Here's a link if you want to come up. You can call on Facebook or Instagram, and it will ring right through. Lawrence D. Adams. So think about it. How would you rebound after this situation? How do you rebound? How does Chris rebound? What do we expect from Jada now? If she's going to do something else, if she's going to say something else, what is her response? Because she has something to say, but they told her to say, you don't say anything. How does Will Smith actually rebound from this situation? How does he go to the next level with this? Or does he allow this to affect his career and allow it to become stagnant? That's something we need to think about. Because if he does not rebound from this will forever be a stain on his career. It's already a stain, but it can be turned around to something that actually brings him a crown or brings him to the next level. So it's something we need to think about with this whole situation about Will and Jada and Chris and this whole thing that we've been talking about is how they're going to rebound. One of the things I think he can do rebound is he's already made apologies to the Oscars. He already made apologies to Chris, but he also now need to come out and do something publicly and sort of he's gonna have to clear his name. He's gonna have to clear his name. It's no way around him. Will made it worse for himself losing his cool like that for everyone that honestly seems like she don't even respect that man. Yeah, I have to say she does not. She does not. So what I will say is this. What he has to do, he's gonna have to you're gonna have to clean his image up again and rebrand himself. He's gonna have to take this situation and laugh at it. And take it and say, I made a really big mistake. Laugh at it. He's gonna admit that he's gonna have to admit that he was in a bad space, but he was in a joyous space. The whole crying at the Oscars, okay, miss us with that. You can cry all you want. Show us with your actions what you're going to do next. How are you going to progress from this point? That's the real test here. What is he going to do at this point? How is he going to what is he going to do? How is he going to change? Will he go work with Chris? That's another option there. Is he going to work with Chris? Is he going to reconcile any differences that he has with Jada? Are they going to stop putting their stuff out in public because we're jaded by Jada? That means over a Dutch, we can't take it. We're numb to it. We're jaded by Jada. I'm just here to say we're jaded by anything she say now. Like, please, we don't even want to hear it. Okay, okay, you got alopecia. Okay, great. Your hair is falling out. Okay, wonderful. Right now, you have over. It's like having somebody over your house. You guys having somebody and they overstay their welcome. You didn't grab your keys. You didn't you didn't flash the lights. You didn't start wrapping things up and turning things off, but they just don't leave. This is how Jada and this whole Will Smith thing has gone. They have overstayed their welcome in social media because of everything that's going on. You know what I mean? It's like they overstayed. They didn't sit there and did this and then told that. Some things you do not need to share with everyone. One thing that needs to happen is they need to get that red table and turn it into a white table because it is too much. So it needs to turn into a white table. When I say white, there needs to be peace between them. And some things need to be talked about inside with a therapist. Need to be talked about with a therapist. Not on national TV. Some things just cannot, and I believe they didn't share everything. They shared enough. They shared enough, but come on. It has to come to an end. Give us a break from you guys. It's just give us a break. I promise because of that table is the table is too messy. And even though it's messy, because yes, we got situations like that in our own personal life. But when it's constantly in your face and somebody's trying to process, let me say this. Process. Exactly. Facts, LDA. But I don't think Jada got that memo. Right. Give us a damn break. Right. Let me say this. I think what's going to happen is this is another wake-up call not only for them, but for everyone else, of the dangers of usage of social media. This is dangerous. It can work for you, but it can tear your behind up. And what has happened is they have saturated every crevice. Now they just took over this whole week. This might as well be Jada and Will and Chris week with this mess that is oversaturated. Back up, step away, be silent. And let me say this also too, when processing, when you're going through crap, it's never pretty. We want it to be with a bow and make it look really nice. But when you process and you're going through crap, family situations going on, it is never, ever pretty. It is never, ever, ever going to look lovely. Someone's going to get cussed out. Someone's going to get mad. Someone's not going to call. But guess what? Some things should not just be out there in the public. Let me put this link out there. If you want to come up, you're listening in the clouds, you got an opportunity to come up and say what you need to say. You can call through Facebook or Instagram. Let us know what you think. Leave a comment. I got a lot of comments yesterday from yesterday's video. Somebody said, you talk too much. You keep repeating yourself. You got to understand, people learn by repetition. And when repetition, guess what happens? It gets into you. I know exactly what I'm doing, why I repeat myself. But let me say this right here. Who's also affected by this are both sets of kids. Will and Jada's, Chris and his ex-wife kids are affected by this situation and their prospective extensions of their family. We never take into account that our actions of what we do or what we do to other people, that it may affect not just us, but our generation of people or kids. How are they processing it? Now, how do Chris Rock explain to his son or to his daughter, if you got either one of them, how do we explain to them this is what's happening? This is just part of Dad's job. You know, he's bound to get smacked. How does he deal with this? How do the kids deal with this? How does Will and Jaden, how do they deal with this? How do they do what Malcolm used to speak on the common front? Yeah, how do they deal with? How do they process this? Sometimes we are so selfish that we think what we do only affects us. We're not thinking about how it affects our kids and our family and our friends around us. So the ramifications of that smack, the joke, Jada's reaction, and now we're seeing more stuff, affects not just only those parties, but it affects their family and their kids. What conversation do you have? What do you say to your kid? You know, hey, you got smacked by Will Smith. You know, we know who he is, and you didn't do anything. What's going on in the mind of those children? We can say, oh, they'll be all right. We don't care. But me being a preacher's kid, you don't hear the conversations behind closed doors about what the children are going through or what they think about what happened to their parents, because we are automatically protective of our parents because they are out in public. So there's another dynamic to that. That's why we have to be very conscious and cautious about what we do. The other thing is I want to talk about is people now want to take advantage. I mean, I'm not sure her name is Amy. Talking about she was traumatized by this. Amy, you need to go sit yourself down. Go sit down somewhere. You ain't traumatized by that. The problem is you're trying to get a lick off of what's going on, like all of us are trying to do. but you're really trying to take it up to the next level. Talking about you were traumatized. Listen to the words traumatized. Only way you were traumatized by it is either it happened to you before, or you're familiar with it, or really threw you in a place. You were not traumatized by it. He didn't smack you. You're trying to get the whole let me ride on the train too. Let me get some sympathy. Let me play the victim. Amy, go sit yourself down. Go sit down. Go sit down. People, it's amazing. Everybody wants to play the victim when it comes to this whole situation. Oh, Jada, she's the victim. She's the one who went through this. She's the one. Oh my God. Chris is the victim. And we got to think about Will. He's the victim. He didn't know how to handle his emotions. We can't be babying people. I can only imagine, and the kid talk as I can only imagine. Kids talk if one really pay attention, even though those bad conversations. Yeah. Amy, Amy, yeah, go sit down. Go sit down. I want to come up, but I'm on the phone with my bank. If I'm still on, I'm going to do that. I will come up. No problem. So yeah, definitely. I want to make sure we cover this completely. And we looked at a lot of angles. Thank you for everybody who's been going back and watching it, leaving comments. I've been getting a lot of comments and a lot of people leaving their thoughts on about this. But this is an open mic session. You can come up and share. What do you think? Thank you, Joe Blast. Traumatized about what? This ain't even about her. I want to go say, go get a couple chairs and sit down. When I seen her comment about, I was traumatized about what Will Smith did to Chris. If you don't sit your crying butt down and stop crying about something that you didn't even happen to you, you didn't go up there and get in the middle of the smack. Sit down. And if you watch this, Amy, yeah, I'm talking about you. Talking about you was traumatized. Oh my God, people. Oh, I can wish I can say what I need to say. You want to take the spotlight off of them so it can be on you about how you traumatized. Classic move. It ain't about you, boo. It ain't about you, Amy. It ain't about you. I've seen it too many times. Those upcoming interviews are going to be brutal. She has to have something. Yeah, yeah. You know, Jada's going to flip this whole thing around. Me and Will, we were in the process of reconciling, and I was trying to tell him, and he was trying to share with me, and this is how it happened. You about to see a spin on this story from Jada and Will like crazy. You're gonna see a spin. I mean a spin. They're gonna say it was because a rabbit touched her toe when she was 2 years old, and the rabbit touched her toe when she thought about it when she looked at and she got her a bumblebee stung all her hair out on one side, and that's the reason why she can't. She thought about that and she looked at Will and she's like, "Oh, she looked at him. You got to do something." It's gonna be some kind of crazy spin they're gonna put on it. She remember when she first cut her hair and everybody laughed at her and she felt some kind of way. She wanted acceptance. I'm telling you, she's going to make it about her. She's going to make it about her while castrating Will even further, right? Always making it about her. Correct. I didn't watch it and can't just some more hugs, Hugh mess added to what's going on now. Right, that's all it is. Please, that's always going to spin city. Yep. If you want to see something spin so quick, watch in the next couple days, even months, how she spins it. The only way, and you need to hear this, and this is some good game. The only way there could be redemption for Will Smith is for Jada to finally, let me not say it. The only way for Will Smith to get redemption The only way for Will Smith to get redemption from this mess, Jennifer, you're right. She's truly a definition of narcissist. She is. The only way for Will Smith to get redemption from this is for Jada to not make it about her and stand up finally for her man. I'm just saying. Or this will forever be a thorn in Will's side. She's going to have to finally swallow her tongue and say, it ain't about me. It is about Will, and humble herself. Put on a wig if you need to get on an interview. Adjust it if you need to. Glue it down, clamp it down, Jada, and swallow your pride and say, this is about Will and his night. He said, never mind, I robot. Now it's I eunuch, right? King Phoenix says Jada wants to be polyamorous, modern and moderate, independent. However, she expects her partner to play a traditional role to protect protective king when she herself does not want to play a traditional role. Very true. The king queen dynamic did not jab with it and all the polyamorous relationship. Yeah. She's going to have to swallow her pride. Put on that wig. If you need to get the wig from out of Color Purple, whatever you need to do, call Oprah, call Gail, call whoever you can. You got to put on a wig, put on some red lipstick if you need to. Whatever you need to do, don't put on the black lipstick. Make sure you look contrite. Make sure you down and say, this was about Will and it wasn't about me. I ain't holding my breath either. I won't hold my breath and wait on her to do that. I agree. But she's going to have to say, you know what? I seen what happened. You know how she talk. I seen what happened and I seen what take place. And me and Will, I realizing it was not about me that night. It was about Will and about him getting his first Oscar for doing King Richard. She's going to have to swallow her pride. She's going to have to admit that she is Jiminy Cricket wrong. Sit your Peter Pan self down and realize it ain't about you. I'm just saying, not the Color Purple LD. I'm just saying he needs to leave her, and she didn't. She didn't try to stop Will. All the intention was made and not on him winning the award. Right? We'll see. I doubt it though. Right? I don't feel bad for Will because he kept himself in this situation. I agree, King Phoenix. I completely agree. He kept himself in a situation. But if he's about working like we talked about, he want to get the family, he want the family life. That wonderful lady named Jada Smith is going to have to swallow. She's gonna have to go, they're gonna have to go in the oven. Call Sweetie Pies, whoever you need to go somewhere, get you a pie and get you some humble pie. Thank you. Your wife protects you just as much as husband does. Right. She's going to have to go and take some humble pie, blow it off, and say, what? It wasn't about me. And if you felt it was about me, it's not. It's about Will and him getting his first Oscar. The shine was never about me. Like you said, we're waiting for that to happen. But this is what she's going to have to do to restore not only Will in the public, but the public opinion of her and Will's relationship. But I'm just talking. What do I know? If you're going to be about that life, protect your husband. Protect his neck. You got him out there looking like a straight buttercup. Protect your husband's neck. Protect his neck. When you look at wolves, the male wolves, who's the head of that male wolf, who's the head of the pack, is out there fighting something. The female wolf goes underneath to protect the throat so that as he doesn't get attacked or his throat, he can lose breath and die. Sisters, brothers, whoever you are, I'm saying Jada has to go and go protect Will Smith's public image. And now she needs to put her image on the cross. She needs to put what? Her image on the cross. As much as she may not want to. If she does this, this potentially can what? Change the trajectory of their home relationship and their image in the public because they came down to a place that's very low. But they're already sort of messed up because you see them partying afterwards. You see them taking pictures and selfies. I'm not saying don't celebrate, but handle this situation. She made him into her attack dog. Very true. But I gotta say that, Jada, this what you. If you're listening, if you publish listening, your cousin listening, those in Philly or whatever you in Boston, whatever the case may be, yo, Jada, go on your Red Table show and say this. Let me say that again. Maybe let me help out a little more. Go on the Red Table and go in. You're gonna almost have to fall out on the Red Table and say it was not about me that night. It was about Will. I was there to support my husband because we knew that he was going to get an Oscar. They told him to act what surprised, but we already knew he was going to get it. That's how she need to cover him. She doesn't respect him and stuck on what she had with Tupac. The man even said he felt like he's always failed every woman in his life. I can't believe a man worth hundreds of millions feels like this. Because that's a good point. You can't believe a man worth hundreds of millions feels like this. Because the money is only an amplifier of what you are and how you feel. Money does not define your character. It is only a what? An amplifier of who you are. Give a homeless man $1 billion. 6 months later, he's back homeless. Give a hoe $1 million. She's back hoeing. It's only an amplifier of who you are. So even though Will Smith has this money, it does not isolate his feelings or his inadequacies as an individual. That's deep, right. I wish Jada would value intimacy is important into a healthy relationship, correct. But money only amplifies what's inside of you. It magnifies because now you have the ability, if you a guy and all you like to do is go to the strip club, it's going to reveal that you really like going to Magic City. Now you're going to fly from Vegas to Magic City and then go to the local place. You're going to go across the country, around the world, because it only magnifies what you really like and what you like to do that you've been hiding because you got the money to do it. I like to move across the bear and what's happening, right? So money only amplifies what's there. It reveals what you really are. Watch a person. So what you're seeing is because Will felt inadequate and he felt like he was always in competition, no matter how much money, let me say this, how many women he had, how many houses he had, how many cars he had, even the children cannot cover up how Will really felt about himself. The money, the cars, the movies, the trips, the jumping out of here, and it can never cover his inadequacies that he felt about himself. And actuality, and y'all need to pay attention to this, it has nothing to do with Jada. It has nothing to do with Jada at all. Let me read your comment because this is very powerful and I want men to really get this. I'm gonna read the latter part. I can't believe a man worth hundreds of millions of dollars feels like a failure because it has nothing to do with Jada. It has everything to do with the image that Will has of himself. And what happens is everyone treats him how he sees himself. That's why great financial success cultivated in a short time usually result in negative ending. And it's imperative to us to do the internal work to have positive outlooks, even when you go get no validation externally. Correct. So I want you to realize this because now much as I admit, much as I admit that Jada has a big part of this, but Will has a problem that a lot of men have. One, he's comparing himself to another man with his wife. The problem isn't Jada. It is Will's thinking. Please get this. It is Will Smith's thinking. His constantly comparing himself of being inadequate to take care of a woman or to be pleasing to a woman. So what he does is he goes and what? Self sabotages any relationship because he automatically becomes what? He begins to prophesy of his defeat. Imagine if Will would have came and said, you know what, I don't care about none of that. So what you like, Tupac? You gonna like me? Would that ever be an issue? No. Randy Woon, what's going on?
Hey, LVA, can you hear me okay?
Yep, I hear you loud and clear.
Awesome sauce. Good afternoon. Hope all is well with you and with the chat. I missed some of what was said because I was on the phone with my banker. So if I repeat anything that's already been said, feel free to cut me off, okay? So first of all, I have this question, right? Who was talking about the Smiths before the Oscars? Have we even been thinking about them in the last couple of months? I don't think so, right? Like we were not talking about them, not thinking about them, not talking about them, right? It seems that whenever they're not being discussed, they find a way to find themselves, their names back in our mouths, back in controversy, back into our minds, as if they want everything to be the Smith show. The Smith, I'm gonna call it the Smith Circus Act. But I also believe that Jada is a covert narcissist. And being a covert narcissist, having Will being overly consumed and engulfed and encompassed in this relationship, which is a matrix in and of itself. And as a covert narcissist, also, she has a way of making everything that is look as though it is not to Will. For instance, we have now this new term that we're using for when somebody cheats or getting something they don't want to explain, an entanglement, right? The entanglement, no matter how they slice the pie, and in spite of the kind of relationship, the kind of non-conventional relationship that they have, it was still a betrayal and it was still a cheating of whatever commitment that they have with each other. But in the midst and in spite of that being a public display and coming out. She has had will to be able to come out and do two things. Number one, the first thing was to say that he was not actually crying at the red table. He always cries. He has this thing that he does, that he always cries. Water just always falls from Will's eyes. So it looked like he was crying. I thought he was crying. I had so much sympathy for him, but no, that's not what it was. Who bought that crap? I have seen Will do numerous interviews, and tears that just not fall from his face. Secondly, then the last thing that I witnessed was him coming out doing an interview saying there was no infidelity in our marriage. How can you have a whole discussion, a whole public display that we now call an entanglement, and you say, well, there was no infidelity in our marriage? But when you're under the thumb and when you're under the spell of a covert, the confusion of a narcissist, they can completely have you question everything that you know, and even question yourself. So you will question even all of the events, especially if it's going to save face for what the narcissist thinks is important when it comes to image. I think she's a witch, and I think the whole family is spinning everyone that looks at them and talks about them is spinning a spell of witchcraft. And that's all I'm gonna say for that. I'm gonna go ahead and drop down. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. You said a whole lot. You there? Oh, she dropped out. So she brought up some very good points I think everyone needs to be talking about. He's stuck in his own hero mentality. He used love as a means to justify his action. He's his own biggest deterrent, because he is bound by expectations for others and his own desires, right? But I want to make sure we get back to the point of that it's easy to blame Jada on this, but if you really look at it, if you study the science that we talk about, the truth that we talk about in thinking class, all you're seeing really is a reflection of, thank you, Rainy Womb, for coming up. All you're seeing is a reflection of Will in Jada. Jada and Will are the same person. Jada and Will Smith are the same person. Y'all don't want to hear that. As much as we get on Jada, they are the same person. You can never have the devil. You can never have Judas without Jesus, and you can never have Jesus without Judas. They are the same person. Will and Jada, whether you want to admit it or not, are the same person. You cannot have Jesus without Judas, and you can't have Judas without what? Judas, Jesus. You can't have them. Will and Jada are the same person. Y'all got to think about that. Yes, imagine that. Being one and the same. Yes. Rain and I agree. She's a call. Will and Jada are the same person. You got to understand. For them to they broke up and came together, they was split apart. They, on some level, are the same person. So as much as we hard on Jada, we have to be even harder on Will, because he's picking the same person. They're the same person. Damn, I never thought of that. He would have the same problem if he was with someone else. It's just, it wouldn't be public. Bingo, bing bong. Come on, there it is. Let me read what he said. He said, damn, I never thought of it, of that. He would have had the same problem if he was with someone else. It just wouldn't be public. Bing bong. You guys get it. Will and Jada, whether we want to admit it or not, are the same person. They're the same person. What we try to do is we try to separate them because of gender and because of the severity on either side, but they're the same person. Gaslighting only works when you counting to entertain the other person's disrespect. But Will and Jada, whether you want to admit it, whether you like it or not, you don't like my commentary, I don't give a rat's butt, they are the same person. There can be no Jada without Will, and there can be no Will without Jada. They are one in the same. That is the reason why Jada shows up, because she's reflecting the crap that's in his life. She is doing a mirror technique on him and he don't like it. Him don't like it. Make sure you drop a comment. Shout out to the editor. Comment outside as we do. It helps the algorithm to help the LDA channel grow. Right. So LDA, Will is attracted to broken people like him. That's it. As much commentary we give on there, thank you, John the W. That's exactly it. You can change her name to Winona. You can change it to Janet from off of Good Times. It still will be the same situation because he feels inadequate in himself. I think Will knows that, but sees no solution. Correct. Will and Jada are perfect for each other. Bing bong. Yes, they are. You got to understand this. When you look at it really closely, you realize they're one and the same. They feed off each other. As much as they fight each other and go back and forth, and you ain't doing this and this and this and that, and this, they're one and the same. The only way this would change is when either one of them changes their self-image of themselves. Hurt people the same way they're broken people. I know I was gaslighting, but only fix it when I left. He needs to get out of the situation, reflect. Yeah. Yes, feeding it is. Yes, feeding it is. Yep. Makes sense why he doesn't leave and she doesn't leave. It's like watching a clown show. They're two clowns moving together in the mind. What she do, he do. Do. And y'all feel sorry. Y'all want to put the gun to Jada. Y'all need to put the gun to, you need to put the state, it is Will. He chose her. The problem is both of them, they don't want to go and be better people, correct? So if they are the same, if Will able to correct himself, where would that leave her? Good question, Joe Blast. Let me get some holler for that. Today is Jerk Chicken. Make sure everybody get a Jerk Chicken. You can Cash App, and you put my Cash App up there. Make sure you get the Cash App. Cash App me the Jerk Chicken today. So good question. If they are the same, if Will was able to correct himself, what would that leave her? She has two choices to do if Will was to correct himself and deal with his insecurities, his comparisons to Tupac or to whatever other man, his inadequacies of not helping his mother when she was getting beat up by his father. When he deals with that, she has two things to do. She either has to reflect him and change, or she has to leave his life. Let me say that again. If one of them leaves, it won't have the Smith Circus show. I'm in the dust, blowing in the breeze. She already lost. Yep. They both. If Will was to correct himself, she would automatically change. Come on. Y'all got to catch the science behind this. What you're seeing in high definition and Blu-ray and whatever is above Blu-ray, and you're seeing a reflection of two people that are one. So while you're looking at Jada and she's exposing all this mess is in Will. What we had lost is we got lost in the gender of her being a woman and him being a man. They're actually one. They are actually one. It's too late to leave unless they want to be miserable and lonely, right? So what you're seeing is a prime example of when two people become one. So in actuality, let's throw some wordplay out there. They are in a very deep entanglement that they can get out of. Because on the same token, Will does something for Jada that she cannot leave. If you really want to leave something, you're going to leave. Were you ready to go? When I'm ready to go, I don't play around. I grab my keys, I trip my car, doop, 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 I'm out. No one can hold you past your willpower. They are one and the same. And once the healing takes place in Will, or once the healing takes place in Jada, you got to understand on some level, they are feeding off each other. They are what? Feeding off each other on what? Of their toxicity, their insecurities, their problems that's going on. So they are feeding off each other. I'd rather be lonely than miserable. This is the same thing people say when they stated it's cheaper to keep her. Right. That's the negative version of man and women coming one. Thank you, Joe Blash. You hitting on all cylinders today, man. You hitting on all cylinders today, bro. Even if she leaves, she will come back. Thank you, Hannibal, man. Dude, man, you guys are telling it. She will come back. Why? Because in her is Will. She feeds off of his insecurities and his thought to compete with Tupac. She feeds off of that. They're both in control patterns running them. Right. She feeds off of that. Now, if Will came and said, you know what? Like I said earlier, if Will was like, yo, you know what? I don't care about no Tupac. He dead, whatever. He's gone. So what? He like that. This is my house. This is how we running it. This is the way we rolling it. If you keep doing that, you can leave. You want to compare me to him? I never will be him, and he'll never be me. I am not that guy. He's who he is. I respect him. He respect whatever. If he don't, I don't care. He's not even here. If you that much in love with him, go to his gravesite. I see you there. And walk away from her. Jada would get her sense together. Somehow she all that internal fighting and I don't know, I miss Tupac, and you writing letters and you thinking about it, you got pictures with him, it will resolve immediately. Because it resolved inside of Will. Because he's still struggling with it, it still is a struggle inside of her. You being lonely will be more miserable than being in a relationship and being miserable. Let me say that again. It's the moment that you say, you know what, I don't care about no Tupac. Okay, cool. He don't even have to come publicly say it. Once he resolved the fight, so there's a fight going on inside of Will Smith with Tupac over Jada. And he's never resolved the fight on the inside of him. The moment he say, you know what, ain't no more fight. I'm done. I ain't fighting her. I'm not fighting him. I'm not fighting none of this. Either you down or you go. Once he resolves and he becomes at peace with it, she's now either got to reflect that or she got to move on. The same thing with Jada. The moment she said, I'm not dealing with your insecurities anymore. I resolved them. Guess what? It's the same thing. They're playing mirror, mirror on the wall. What? It's the life of bringing a dead man into our home bed relationship and so forth. Right. You got to understand even though he's dead, y'all getting mixed up because he's dead. He's very much alive in Will and Jada's mind. He's still singing Thug Life inside of Will's mind. He's still singing Thug Life inside of Jada's mind because they never have dealt with or went to a therapist and talked out that and released Tupac Shakur out of their relationship. They have not reformed an exorcist. They have not kicked him out. They have not tied a knot, and he's still dancing around singing Dear Mama in their mind. It ain't even in the real, in this world that we call real. It's in the fourth dimension and not in the third, in this third dimension. It's in the fourth dimension that they're fighting. So he's very much alive in them. He's alive in them. Then also too, his comparison to something, an image in his mind. The moment he said, you know what, I'm gonna take this image and I'm going to do a technique where it's a technique where you release the image or the thought or wherever the case may be and let it go and deal with it. Boom. You're gonna see a change. Y'all need to charge me that. Come on. They never really worked on the trauma. They just emotionally dump baggage on each other constantly and on us too. That's why I rock with you earlier. You broke it down below the surface. Is it that spirit that's still alive in you? Yes, you're right. Not good. Not good. Yes. Not good. Yes. Get that thing out of her. Right. So it's still alive inside of them. So what you see out in, so the smack, if we were to hypothetically say this, the smack that Chris Rock received from Will Smith was actually a smack, hypothetically, just talking, was actually a smack for Tupac Shakur or whatever comparisons he's had. Because after that happened, get your name out. What did he say? Keep my wife's name out of your mouth. He's battling something. He's fighting a fight internally that he has not surrendered to or have never conquered. Man, y'all don't want this game. Y'all want that patty cake. Oh, just tell them the general stuff. He's bound, and so is Jada. Do not think she is innocent. She's reflecting the crap that's inside of Will. But she also has some things inside of her that she has not dealt with when it comes to, we heard some things come about her sexuality. There's some things inside of her that's very much alive. And this is the thing, why we have a problem with it, why we want to get over it, even me, because if we really look at it, I am Will, Chris, and Jada. I am dealing with some things as anyone else is, but our stuff is not on public's display. They chose to put it out in the public, that we give them that, but our stuff ain't out there. If you've been in over 10 years, there's no leaving and never coming back. Stop being so prideful and deal with the problem, right? As entertainers, you do have the responsibility to not emotionally dump on your audience and jade them before they have that experience, right? And that's we hold entertainers and everybody to a high level, but we got to remember. And I've been around some entertainers, I've been around some people and things like that. They just as human as us. They fart, they crap, they do everything. They put their legs in. They have problems. They have emotional breakdown, all kind of stuff. Kids don't act right, whatever the case may be. But you got to realize what you're looking at. You're looking at two people. And man, you on 5 cylinders. You working it today, Joe Blast. Yes, Chris caught the slap that all the bullies will get terrorize him for decades, right? No, what Chris caught was he got a remembrance of what took place with him when he was a child. So even though Chris may have thought he dealt with the bullying and the physical abuse that he got when he was in being bused as a kid, a reminder just came back up. If it was not dealt with, it would have never happened. Ask yourself, who's holding you hostage? That got me going. Good game, 155. So what you're seeing is, even with Chris, I seen an interview he did yesterday. He's thinking about, wait a minute, this slap is really familiar to me. I know what it is, but is it resolved inside of him? See, let me say this, and y'all may not like this, and y'all might leave comments, oh, you going to esoteric? The slap from Will Smith was not from Will Smith. Should I say it? The tears of a clown, right? You didn't mess with anything no longer alive and like a dead. You wish. Let me say this. Y'all may not like this, but y'all let me know in the chat when you want to hear this, because I'm saying something. The slap from Will Smith to Chris, Will Smith and Chris were one and the same. Yeah, it was his weak slap. Esoteric game. Thank you. Here we go. We didn't went over to Jupiter now. Will Smith smacking Chris Rock was really Chris Rock smacking Chris Rock. Uh-oh, what do you mean, LDA? Will Smith could never smack Chris Rock if it wasn't given permission on some level for him to do that. Or there was no kind of identifying energy inside of him that resonated for him to do that. Think about it. We all said on a regular level, he wouldn't have did that to The Rock. He wouldn't have did that to someone that's even smaller than Chris Rock. But on some wavelength, it identified with Chris, and he ended up receiving what he always still dealt with. Everything happens for a reason. No, I don't think that. Okay, you don't have to think that. Don't worry about it. I'm not here to debate whether you think it or not. It was Chris smacking Chris. Chris identified. Chris might be listening like, man, I don't agree with that. Why would I smack myself? Regards who were the hosts. It identified on some level, and he agreed with it on some level, and it had to take place. He received the slap because on some level he desired to be slapped. He desired to be slapped, or take it a little bit further, on some level, it was a reminder of what he's gone through in his life that's not dealt with. It cannot show up unless you identify with it on some level. Y'all don't want this. LDA got to go. Y'all like, he's going to the. Please understand what I'm saying. It had to show up. And if you look at Chris' track record from a kid to dropping out of high school, getting his GED, working on, and he got bullied and teased. And even when he played different roles, he was the skinny little Pookie and all like that. On some level, that was Chris. We don't want to look at it that way because we wanted to separate it and look at it from, we looked at it objectively and not subjectively. We're taking the emotions out of it and look at it for what it really is. Why didn't he go and slap the person who really wrote the joke? Man, y'all better pay attention. Unresolved trauma is evokes unresolved trauma. Right. That's why we said yesterday it had to happen. It was the perfect storm because the storm was already perfect in Jada and Will and in Chris. This is something that they both need to resolve, correct? But the real question is, like Sigma said, what's unresolved inside of you? See, we want to make it make sense to you. Why does Will keep attracting the same type of woman? Because that same type of woman is inside of him. Why do you keep choosing the same kind of car? Why did I choose the same kind of Forte, Seltos, now a Genesis? Because that's the progression of what I've done. They're the same makers of the cars that I have. That means some level I resonate with the Korean car maker. I would resonate with it. The same thing is happening on this stage with this. Is it wrong? It's completely wrong. So don't try to. We're not trying to take the wrong out of it. What we're doing is taking it to another level and looking like, this is what's going on underneath the surface. This is the spiritual side of the game. What time is it? 2:01. I got to cut the beginning part. But I want you to really think about this week. What is it unresolved inside of you that keeps showing up? What keeps smacking you? And I said this years ago on my radio show, and they got upset that why do men cheat on women? Because the cheater is inside of the woman. Let me say that again. Let me say this again. No one, I think somebody just hit, what's happening here? What happened here? I think I've seen something come through. Let me say that again. I said this before. I was on my radio show years ago. I said, women say, why do men keep cheating on women? These men are cheaters. No, it's because the cheater is inside of you, woman. Where are you cheating yourself? He can't show up without you. I was thinking about that the other day. Chris could read Will's body language when he was stepping to him, but he didn't take the defense acts. He merely reverted to the old habit from his younger years. Correct. Drop the mic right there. I don't believe that. I know you don't want to believe that, Kenosha. On some level, you're cheating on yourself. You may not be cheating with someone physically or maybe emotionally, but you're cheating who you are. On some level, Chris was smacking himself. It's the only reason why the smack had to show up. Do I need to? Y'all need to know this kind of stuff. Y'all don't want to know this stuff. That's the only reason why I show up. Because on some level, it is in you. Chris smacked himself. Leave a comment after this. I'm going to end. If you want me to say one more thing, let me know in the chat room. One more thing. This gets a whole right. This gets a new perspective on smoke and mirrors. You guys are getting. It's the subconscious play out in the conscious mind. Dre, come on, bro. Don't know who you are, but man. Gotta understand. Appreciate that. That's why 5 shows up. Correct. Got 5 on it. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Thank you for the super chat. You gotta understand who really smacked who. Chris really smacked himself. I don't want to hear that. Let me read it. It's subconscious playing out in the conscious mind. and reflecting on the earth. This is all you seeing. And we just have to experience the drama of it. You may not like it, but it is what it is. Salute. Yeah, salute Dre for that drop, man. That was on point, man. That's exactly it. So even though we talk about how classless and how wrong Will was, but we also need to look at what's going on the subconscious level underneath. That's why we said yesterday it had to happen, because it was the perfect storm. All parties were on board, even if it was fake or real. It still has the sting of what's going on underneath the surface. Okay, I'm on board. Get it now. You're all truly, I do. Yeah. Okay, good. So I want you to really understand that. This clears it completely up for you. This is acne clean. But this is proof you can use the subconscious to bend your reality to the outcome you want. Thank you very much. Thank you. When I wanted to, I'm gonna tell you a story right there. What you said. I wanted to go to the beach for my birthday, and I couldn't go. Something came up the following week. That Wednesday, I ended up booking a ticket, and I was down the next week. I was in what? Florida on the beach with my feet in the sand. Why? Because the sand was already in me. It reflected what was on the subconscious level. What a week this was, going from mad about this thing and seeing that's a great thing. I'm still very much over them and wish the Smiths will fall into the smell charm of forgetfulness. Yeah. But I want you to really get this. All parties involved were on some level them. As one of my mentors would say in a teaching that I listened to several times, say if the dog is biting you, you are the dog biting yourself. The trip was your subconscious is just need time to matter. Right. The trip was in your subconscious. It's just needed time to manifest. Correct. The perfect situation happened for me to get to Florida. And I was in Miami on the beach down the street where I was when I first purchased my car. I looked at the pier that I walked on and spent a Sunday at. I was at the same location. I was in Sunny Isles. Salute to you, Dre. So you got to understand it. What you're seeing, Will Smith and Chris and Jada and all like that, you're seeing the play out of something that's going on the subconscious level. That's why you need to heal on those many levels. Do you understand the power you have to manifest? They were never. That's probably why I missed my flight. I'm gonna tell you why I missed my flight. If you want to know, I'm gonna go after this. I have to go. You want to know? Let me tell you why I missed my flight. If you want to know why I missed my flight, and I have to go after this because it's time for jerk chicken. Put a number 1 in the chat room. You want to know why I missed my flight. Put a number 1 in the chat room. You want to know why LDA missed his flight. I'm gonna tell you why I missed my flight. It ties into what we're talking about. I can put a number 1 why I missed my flight. And I thought about it. I said, "Oh my freaking God! I need a couple number 1s to put the reason why I missed my flight." And I thought about it. I said, "Jeez Louise." You gotta be careful when you start working with this kind of science. One more 1 in the chat room so I can tell you, and I can go. And I'll tell you why I missed my flight out of Tampa. Well, okay, all right, okay. So this is what happened when I got to Miami. I ended up getting a nice place, but I couldn't leave Miami yet, and I booked a hotel the next day or that night to be in Tampa. But because all things didn't line up, I wasn't able to get to Tampa. So when I canceled my hotel, pay attention when I'm about to tell you, I canceled my hotel and I called Expedia and canceled on them. What I told Expedia was the reason why I need to cancel my hotel is because I told them I missed my flight. When I told Expedia I missed my flight into Tampa, I'm still in Miami, and what can you do? And I talked to the hotel, said, okay, the hotel said, okay. I talked to Expedia, they said, okay. What happened was I told Expedia, yeah, yo, man, I missed my flight. I'm still in Miami. I haven't got there. I need to cancel this hotel in Tampa. The day goes on. My feet are in the sand. I'm chilling and relaxing and doing my thing, watching the waves, little kids playing in front of me. And Expedia calls me back, say, hello, Mr. Adams. I said, yes. Well, we're going to cancel on our end and we're not going to charge your car. I said, repeat that again. We're not going to charge your car. I said, yeah, because I missed my flight. I'm in Miami. I wake up. I have to go to Tampa. I had to take care of some business before going to Tampa. The time that I left, I had enough time to get there, but I stopped and got some gas from Miami to Tampa. I got to the window and said, hey, I'm here. Can I get on this flight? They said, you know what? You ain't getting on this flight. You ain't gonna get on this flight. You missed it. I said, what? You got my ticket. I'm like 20 minutes away, 20 minutes. I can get on. No, we already closed the door. The flight is about to leave. We're going to give you another ticket for the next morning. You got to leave out at 4:37 in the morning. I said, 4:37 in the morning. So I had to book a hotel in Tampa and stay a night, get up 2 o'clock in the morning, drop off the car, and fly back up to Cleveland. But I want you to catch what I said to Expedia and to the original hotel in Tampa. I told them that I missed my flight, and I actually end up manifesting a missed flight. You got to be careful what you say and what you put out there. Let me say that again. I manifested a missed flight because that's what I told Expedia, and that's the reason why they took the charges back. That's why they didn't charge my credit card, or they didn't charge my hotel. Didn't charge me. That was $237. $237. They didn't, but I told them, hey, I missed my flight. I'm still trying to get there. You know how it is. And the next day, I ended up really missing my flight. Be careful what you say and what you put feeling to. That's what actually happened. With that being said, this is Lawrence D. Adams. We went so long. Thank you for showing up. Like, comment. Thank you for everybody that's watching. We got 2K. I think we got about 2 to 3K on here. Let me check the video right quick. And I got to edit this video down because of the music, because we can't play the music. Small white lies, right. Yeah, we both at 2. Both of them are at 2K. So both videos are doing good. But definitely thank you for showing up. This is Lawrence D. Adams. When spirituality and the game combines, you have the thinking class. Thank you so much. It's time for me to go get my jerk chickens. Join us Monday. And don't tell a white lie. Tell the truth. We out of here. Peace. Let me get this right here for these people.